And
And
they're gonna hold on to those things. Boy, remember you said JoJo was da 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 da. They're not gonna let it go. You done forgave him. He done learned his new skills. He changed his behavior. He done moved on. But you done told all your friends that he cheating on you. Girl, you can't do that.
that ain't gonna and they don't
Don't bring
love
him
him. So
home.
guess what? They have no love for him like that. So they're gonna
JoJo
hold
ain't gonna
on to
make it. JoJo ain't gonna make it. Damn, JoJo is not invited to the family cookout or to brunch with friends. Okay, they don't like JoJo no more.
right. And now you in the
And
heart.
now that affects your relationship because you have violated the vulnerability. You've led him to not be able to trust you
Mm,
because now you're going somewhere else to have those conversations. That's why I say talk to a professional, y'all. Please just talk to somebody. Please, please.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Sis Stop Sulkin podcast. I am your host, Ms. Tasha Talks Life. This is the safe space for women that are prioritizing their health, their goals, and their dreams. And right here today, I'm so excited for this conversation. I have the wonderful marriage and mindset coach, Kourtney.
Hi,
So,
hi.
Kourtney, welcome, welcome. Please introduce yourself.
Yes, hey. Well, thank you for having me, Sasha. I'm super excited to be here. We're gonna get into some good stuff
Yes.
today. But as you mentioned, I'm Kourtney Dubois. I am a relationship coach, a married mindset coach, because we gotta get ourselves together in our community. I truly, truly believe that the Black community thrives when the Black family is doing what it's supposed to be doing. And in order to do that, got to get our marriages together, right? So, yeah, I'm excited to be here and get into some of this today.
So I'm
Yeah.
excited to hear, an expert opinion and just kind of take some notes myself. And ladies, this episode, I think you might want to take, and I know I say it probably all the time because I'm a teacher by nature. So I'm always providing opportunity for us to learn and grow. And that's what this podcast is about. Yeah, we get on here, we laugh and we joke or whatever, but there's always something that you could take away with that you could implement into your life. So get your notepads ready. We want to really like hone in and just have an authentic conversation around this important topic, like you said, because is an attack on the Black marriage. It really is. And so, and marriage in general. So, I definitely am here for it.
Yeah.
So, tell me a little bit about how or when or what was the start of you coaching in this area?
Oh, girl. Well, well, I like, many people who are married now. I met my husband, it's been about 15 years now, 15 years ago. We've been married almost half that time. But I just can remember at a point in our relationship, I was like, this ain't it. This is not what I thought marriage was supposed to be. This is not what I signed up for. And nobody was really talking about the struggles and how to work through the struggles at that time. And I am a trained counselor. And it's funny because people are like, well, you should know what to do. And it's like, well, you really need somebody to help you walk through it, regardless if you know what you're talking about or not. You have
Absolutely.
to have counseling. And we got to the point where we were like, all right, we really need to talk to somebody. And we learned a lot about ourselves, about how we came to where we are in our marriage, and just the things that we need to do because neither one of us were right. We get into these things where it's like, well, it's your fault. You didn't do this or you didn't do that. But we had to look at ourselves and say, all right, well, that happened. How are we going to move forward? And once I realized there was a need in this space, we have so many people talking about relationships, right? We need some more trained professionals
That was
in
so articulate, so politically correct.
included in the conversation. We need to talk
Sure.
about it from a real standpoint. I believe we need to talk about it from a real life standpoint. We need to talk about it from the standpoint of what we're supposed to be doing in purpose alignment with how a relationship was created to be by God.
Mm,
And we need to talk about it, from how we're living it in a day-to-day life so that we can make it better, make it what it's supposed to be and
for
stop
sure.
just assuming all these things that we come into a relationship with so many assumptions. And that's the biggest challenge. I
For
come with my
sure.
stuff and you come with your stuff, and we just don't never get it together.
Very true. Very, oh my God. And I think that with, oh, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think sometimes marriages fail because the lack of putting in the work. Like you have to be able to look at yourself. You have to
Right?
be able to see where self-reflect
Yeah.
first, right? It's so easy to point the finger. And I think that even for myself, I didn't get to this point where I could look at myself generally like, first of all, counseling, right? And then
Yeah.
also the self-awareness, the work, putting in the work and realizing, okay, I need to read these books. I need to be more mindful and really conscious and my approach, my language, like really. And I think that that's where it falls apart is because both people have to do it.
Absolutely.
Right. And I think when
Absolutely.
nobody's doing it or one person is doing it, it's not going to work. What is your thought on that?
We hear that term irreconcilable differences, right? And that's basically two people couldn't come together and be vulnerable enough to have a conversation that they needed to have and communicate what they really needed to articulate to their partner. And I do hear people out there saying, if the wife is pulling it together, you can get your husband into doing this, but that man ain't gonna change till he's ready to. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't be trying and doing what you know you should be doing. Don't just do wrong or be out here acting stupid because he acting stupid.
Right.
You lead by example because wives are wisdom. You know what I mean? We
Mhm.
are the helpmate. We help them. And I think sometimes we can get so weary in our helping where we can feel taken advantage of or just like kind of what's the point that we just kind of give up and don't want to do it anymore. But the Bible ain't saying nothing about that. Like you gotta hang in there. You gotta keep doing it if you
Yeah,
want
girl.
to work.
Woo.
I know. It gets hard. I've been there. I've been there. It got to a point where I had to pray that prayer, like, God, if somebody ain't supposed to be in my life, please remove them. And you have to listen to stuff like that. That's why, you know, people people don't realize how difficult it is to do right all the time in your marriage. And I think that is what we don't hear a lot of. We hear all this stuff about dating and, what restaurant you want to go to and what your credit score, what you need to bring to the table. But baby, when there ain't no table in your house because y'all don't have the money to pay your bills, like how are you working through that? You know what I mean? that bringing stuff to the table and all we need to understand on a different level how we're going to operate as people in this world because we're not always going to have it together.
For
I'm not going to
sure.
like you every day, but I have to still love you and I have to show you what that love is, and get to that next place that we're supposed to be. So yeah, it's
Oh,
a
that's good. That's good. I think I'm gonna use this as a session for myself right about now. No. But it's good because it's so true. And like even like you said, being the example and being the bigger person. And I do feel I and this is like whatever, but I do feel like with that, there is a part, like you said, of being weary where you feel like, okay,
yeah.
or if you want to do counseling and they may not, or they want to do, they want to try something else and you're just not open to it or whatever. So I want to talk about like just what are some key indicators for a healthy, thriving relationship? Like, because a lot of times people think that it's always supposed to be roses and, like you said, where we gonna eat and fun times, and that's just unrealistic, right? Because
That's
sometimes
not
you're like
realistic
your
about anything in life. So why do we feel like that about our relationships?
exactly. Sometimes you don't even like your kids. Sometimes you don't even like your
Right.
parents. So what you think you're
Right.
supposed to like?
Right. Sometimes I don't like me and I'm like, girl, I'm sick of you. I'm going back to
Oh my
sleep. Like,
God, that's a whole word. That's a whole nother.
like, girl, what are you doing? Just go to sleep.
You avoid the mirror because you don't even want to see yourself, right? No, for sure.
Yeah.
So just what are some key indicators? We'll
Sure,
go
sure,
with that, the positive on,
sure.
that you can use that are there for healthy, thriving relationships.
Sure. The basis of what I teach all my couples, I'll give you that very, very nice and neat. You have to have a vision. Where there's no vision, people perish. Proverbs 29:18. That you have to have a vision. Having a vision allows you to be on the same page. When you're on the same page, you know where you're going. I don't have to
Mm-hmm.
argue about these other things because that's not what's a part of our vision. So we not even addressing that. We're not even going there. And when I find myself going there, I can quickly bring myself back because that's going to interrupt our plan. So you have to have a vision. Communication. You have to have an understanding of how you are perceived and how you are perceiving the other person. So I might say, yeah, okay, let's just do it, to something that my husband is asking me for. I may be agreeing with him, but I'm giving off all the bad vibes.
Yeah.
So I have to be aware of my nonverbal verbal cues, what I'm doing, how I'm responding, how do I look, what is my facial expressions, do I have a vested interest, do I look like to him, that I'm really and truly saying what I want to say and what I mean to say. We'll get into this a little bit later, but you gotta tame your tongue. You gotta tame your tongue. You have to say what you mean and mean what you say. And when you say a little too much, sometimes you gotta know how to apologize. There are apology languages, there are love languages, there are forgiveness languages. You have to learn all of that. All of that is a part of communication. So though that's a huge one. I spend a lot of time on that with a lot of my clients. The other key indicator I would say is also vulnerability.
Yeah.
We get into this vibe where we're like, I shouldn't have to tell him this. He should know. Say the truth.
For sure. For
No,
sure.
clearly he don't know. How's that working for you so far? You know what I mean? Having that vulnerability allows for a judgment-free zone. Because when I feel like I can be vulnerable with you, I want to tell you those things that are causing me pain. And I think a lot of us are so afraid of being open and honest because we're afraid to experience the pain, to share the pain, but we don't realize on the other side of the pain is the purpose and
Yeah.
partnership, is all the things that you need to get you to where you should actually be in relationship. And it's like we get to this place where we don't want to be played. You know what I mean? You got to
Yeah.
play your position, not play your partner. You are supposed.
Right. Oh my goodness. And I think that men more have that part. They have to work through that a little bit more with the vulnerability. And I know women do too, but
Mhm.
for me, I'm the type like what you see is what you get. Like I'm gonna feel my feelings. And
Yeah.
that I wasn't always like that. You know what I'm saying? So like if I'm feeling excited and I'm emotional and I'm gonna cry, I'm gonna cry. If I'm feeling hurt, I'm gonna, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna let my tears out. I'm going to be excited if I need to be excited. And I also am open to not exposing myself, but just being vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? And like, even with my girlfriend, some of my friends, like, you don't have to be, so, but it's just who I am. Like, I heard this man say today, I forget his name. He's the pastor. And he was saying vulnerability is his superpower.
Okay.
And so when he said that, I don't know if I subscribe to that, but I
Yeah.
understood it. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I felt that because there is some power in being vulnerable, like you just mentioned. But I
Mhm.
find like sometimes guys, they don't want to be vulnerable. They don't want to seem like come off as being like weak or whatever. And it could be from some past traumas. So I do think as a wife, it is our duty to give them that safe space and to allow them to know like it's okay, and not condemn them for it, or not feel like, because I a lot of women when they see guys they're like, oh, he's crying, or he's, you know what I'm saying, and it's kind of like, I'm a boy mom, please don't tell my boys not to cry, okay? If they hurt, if they're don't tell, I'm not saying they're gonna be crybabies, but one thing that will boil my grits is telling my boys do not cry.
You hit the nail on the head. You're that mom, but I think we're just now getting to, our generation is just now getting to that place where we're like, okay, no, we need to help these men feel the feels. Past us and beyond, us and older, I would definitely say, when have men ever been allowed to feel a feeling? You
Exactly.
calling 3-year-old Johnny little man? He's not a man. He is a boy. Black boys at the age of probably about 8, 9, 10 years old, they are grown men. They look like grown men. They bigger than some of them bigger than me. I'm 5'5".
Yeah.
And some of these boys, unfortunately, start getting treated like men. There's this whole, the single mom thing. he's the man of the house. He is not. He is a little boy. He is your son. He is not your
Exactly.
boyfriend. He is not your man. He is not your protective provider. That is your child. And unfortunately, a lot of our men do not know how to feel their feelings. They do not know how to express how they feel because they've never sat down and had the time to process feelings.
Right,
Girls are
right.
always hard. Oh, write in your journal. Oh, be the nurturer. Take care of the baby. The baby's crying. We learn like, okay, the baby's crying. I gotta help the baby feel better. Men don't learn that. They're not helping the basketball feel better. They're pounding it against the
For
pavement. Go
sure.
harder, run faster. Did it? You know what I mean? So when we talk about the communication, we talk about how we're perceiving others. We have to take into consideration just the life experience of the collective of men, right? They're not
For
taught
sure.
that. So it's going to take them some time and usually a professional in some
Yeah.
cases to help them
Mhm.
get to the place where they can feel one, know, recognize what that feeling is, feel comfortable expressing that feeling. And hey, are you making it a safe space? Are you making that's a part of vulnerability too? Is this a safe space for both of us to share what we're feeling? Or do I let you emotionally unload on me and I take it in and I hug you and make you feel better? But when I have my outburst and it may look like depression and I'm sitting on the couch playing Madden all day, and you like, well, what's wrong with you? You're not talking to me.
Yeah.
That's how I express. Or, if I burst out in anger because really I'm depressed or I'm sad or I feel like I'm out of control and it's anxiety coming out, you don't know how to respond to that. So there is a lot. It's a lot.
It really is. It really is.
Mindset piece that we just do not think about. So, that's a part of that vision. That's a part of that communication. The vulnerability is huge. And that vulnerability leads to intimacy, which is of course what we all want more of: passion, intimacy, all that good stuff. And I would say the last key indicator would definitely be expectations, making sure that we come in to relationships with a lot of expectations, but we need to be in relationship and leave relationship with clear, with assumptions. We come in with a lot of assumptions, but we need to get clear on what the expectations are. How do
Mm.
you want to be treated? How are you going to be treating me? We have to make sure that we're aligned in vision because those expectations are how we walk out our goals that we come up
Yes.
from the vision phase. So
Yeah.
yeah, those are the big things, the big
Those
things.
are good. Those are really, and the expectation part, I think that doesn't come right away. I think when no one's having those conversations, right?
They can't.
Until,
You can't.
yeah, it's
My
just like,
expectation when we were first married is not the same now that we have two
and
kids.
that's why it's important to keep revisiting that vision
It
that you
is a
talked
vision.
about.
Yep, there you
If
go.
we on that same page, then it's guaranteed that we can, like you said, discard those things that are not aligned with the vision.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and oh my God, those are so good. Those are so
Yeah.
good.
And
And
that's why I feel like folks don't realize, like I feel like we get so permanency. There's so much permanency. Like once something happens, that's how it has to be, and then we never talk about it again. And it can't be like that. It can't be like that because things are changing all the time in relationship. You're getting older, you're having kids. It's just so much that changes. Even if you're not even having kids and introducing that, just life has changed. Girl, when I tell you
everything.
these groceries have gotten out of control, that changes your monthly budget. That is a conversation that needs to be had because
Absolutely.
whatever you were spending before, baby, is about to double. Like,
Yeah. And oh my God, it's like two, three times more. I'm like, wait a minute. So
yeah.
like with this these key indicators,
Mhm.
I mean, I love them all. And I love, and in my mind, I'm envisioning them all like linking
Yeah.
together,
Yeah.
right?
For sure.
But when we talk about the vision, which because I'm a mindset coach, so everything starts with the mind. When you talk about the vision, how often, right? Because I heard this couple say that they do weekly check-ins, and the comments was like, "Anybody got time for that?" And I'm like, "Well, that's what works for them." You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever, right? So they check in with each other to see how their cup is being filled. If there was something that needed to happen, or what are some ways that you're feeling about this, and just checking in with each other. What is your thoughts on weekly check-ins, or is that a thing? Is that what is your thoughts on that?
So I usually, when we're trying to figure out how to improve our relationships, I usually start folks off with a weekly check-in. Now, once you get into this and it's pretty fluid, do you need a weekly check-in? No, you don't need to have a State of the Union address every single week. But I definitely suggest, especially when life gets super busy and it's a lot of stuff going on. It's holiday season, you got a lot of family touch points, a lot of just stuff happening right now.
Yeah.
I do suggest weekly check-ins. But whether you're doing it weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly, I would not go farther out than a month because it's just you don't need to wait that long.
It's always changing. Yeah.
Things are always changing. I suggest you check in. And by check in, I mean we're talking about finances. We're talking about special events. Is anything coming up? How are we
Mhm.
handling your mom who's coming in here? She always got an attitude,
Right.
what activities are you doing to get her out the house? Just you're having those conversations about whatever is going on in your life. I am huge, huge, huge on if there's something that has happened that week, which is why in the beginning I start off with weekly because we're still learning the communication of that. If it's something that has happened that has caused an issue that week and you did not go into the argument about it, I would suggest spending that time during that weekly check-in to say, okay, this was said or this happened and this is how I feel about it.
Yeah.
And that is that time to be able to do that. So you're not spending your whole week going back and forth, having an attitude, arguing, and such and such.
Right.
That is why weekly, I think, initially is really, really good because it allows you to get used to talking. And a lot of us aren't used to talking about what our issues are. We just had an attitude and move on. How many people are out there fighting about the same thing week after week after month after year,
Yeah.
3 years down
Mhm.
the road? They still arguing about the same thing.
Yeah.
So these weekly check-ins allow you to do that. What are you doing? What are we doing great? Because a lot of times we don't talk about that either. What are you doing? What did I do this week that you liked? What do you want me to do more of? Did we have sex? Did we go on a date? Are we going to church as much as we wanted to? Do the kids need new shoes? Okay, what is the plan about?
Yeah.
Do not spend $350 this week. What is going on with you and Target runs? You know what I mean? You just need to have those conversations and those check-ins. I also suggest a mandatory date night. Whatever your
Oh
budget
yeah.
can handle, whatever you can do, I suggest for sure having a mandatory date night. Do not let who plans the date night and where you go and the this and that. Don't get caught up in all that. The point is that
Right.
quality time because what happens is we become roommates. We get into this whole work, kids, dinner, sleep, and it becomes a cycle
Repeat. Repeat.
over and over
Yep.
again.
Mhm.
Like, Groundhog Day, just over and over again. And we have
Mhm.
to make sure that we are intentional about creating that quality time. So even if your day is after the kids go to bed, you guys pop popcorn and drink wine on the floor, watching the movie, do something. Do something. You know what I mean?
Something
You can have
together.
tons and
Yeah.
tons and tons of free dates, but you have to do something. Um,
Yeah.
I just think that
Really
you
quick. I just that check-in thing, I just want to touch on that because I really I think that's super important. And even when there is a beef or disagreement, right? Because like for example, for me, I'm a communicator. Like I need to know, let's talk this through right now, right? And even because even if I'm upset, I still am a communicator. Like I'm not, I've mastered maintaining my emotions, right?
your husband
But
practice it.
my partner is a processor.
Yep.
So he doesn't want to talk about it right now. So it's kind of like, where are you going? Like we're having and he's like, in learning him and we've been together so long, I'm learning that he's a processor. I'm a communicator. I need right now, he needs time. So that weekly check-in is perfect because he's processing for 3 weeks or whatever. And I'm like, are we going to talk about it? Like, you know what I'm saying? So now that gives us both a happy medium where I
Yeah.
wait and he now has to meet me halfway. So I do love that part of it is like that check-in is the time when now you can get your thoughts, you can get your feelings, and I can just wait. And maybe even in my communication, maybe in me waiting, I may be able to deliver a little bit better. I may be able to see another way. So
Absolutely.
so those weekly check-ins is huge. And it was just to me when people were like, I don't have time for that, or that's just extra. And I'm like, but again, they probably weren't even married or not happily married. So
Yeah. Yeah. Or they may just be good communicators and they just may not be in that season in their relationship
That's
at that.
very true too. Yeah.
But that's huge. I talk a lot about fighting fair. And a part of fighting fair is, obviously I don't want you to fight at all. But when you get into
Yeah.
conflict, because conflict is going to arise, you need to know how to handle it. And a part of that, because I'm that person, I was very much, we need to talk about this right now. I'm upset. What is going on? We not going to sleep. You can't go to sleep mad. Girl, you better go to
Yeah.
sleep. You better not. You better get them Z's. Okay. But we have to fight fair and we have to understand and agree upon, again, setting those expectations. How are we going to handle this? So when conflicts arise, I usually suggest giving each other at least 10 minutes. But you talk about this, okay? This is going to be an issue. I don't want to fight. Let's separate for 10 minutes, no more than 20, and come back. And when we come back, we're not talking about 10,000 things that you did since 1994. We're talking about the I feel when I need situation. So I feel embarrassed when you yell at me. I need you to talk to me in a calm manner. You get into the heart of what, that's a very surface level, but
Yeah.
you get
Yeah.
into the heart of whatever your issue is. And that was something that I had to learn very early on in our relationship too. He is a processor. He doesn't know how he feels in the moment because he's just mad or angry, and it's not even that. It's like, well, I'm not angry, but I felt like you weren't allowing me to express myself and you were trying to rush me. So now I feel like you don't care how I feel. You only care how you feel. But
And
giving
now
him
you close
that
up.
time allows him to calm down and then usually bring suggestions on how we can fix whatever the issue is to the table, because that's what you want to do. You want to say, okay, this is the issue, but this is what we need to do to fix it. And that's why that time allows you to, to
Yeah.
break,
I
come
love
back.
that. And it's not and I think also adopting it's not a win or lose,
Right.
right? It's
No,
not
it's how we
it's
move
like,
forward.
right. It's like, I'm not trying to win the argument. I look at it like, and that's what I was telling someone. I was like, it's not about win or lose. It's more like just a compromise and understanding and appreciating each other's opinion. And someone said something to me, my girlfriend, she was like, there's always two perspectives. Like when you feel like, you're thinking of something in a way, challenge yourself to think of it another way. And that's
Yeah.
going to negate the thought or the feeling of having to be right,
Yeah.
or feeling like your way is the only way. And I've been in just life in general, been adopting that for a while now. And it's so freeing.
Yeah.
So bringing that into like a romantic relationship, a platonic relationship is just so freeing because there's always another perspective or another way. So, and it doesn't mean that one is right or wrong. So
I
that's,
always say fight the problem with the person, not the person with the problem.
mm,
Because when we start attacking the other person and not like this specific behavior or this action that we don't like happening, it spirals from there. So there's an unwanted behavior. Okay, he's texting on the phone. You don't start going off da 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 da. You set boundaries around that issue. When you
right.
with me, I don't feel comfortable when you putting your phone face down. If I don't feel comfortable about you having conversations that sound like this, that you start going into that. Not you're a liar. You don't go into fighting the person. You fight the problem
I
together.
love that.
And if that person does not want to fight the problem with you, they are the problem, and you need to exit stage left.
Yeah. That is, and that part. So we touched on a few strategies to improve communication and intimacy, but I know that there's more, so I definitely want to talk on that, like just some ways to improve the communication, because we talked about, like, we know a healthy relationship has a vision and we're communicating, but what are some ways if someone is like, okay, but how, or trying to figure that part out, where
For
to
sure, for
start?
sure. So definitely, like we touched on those weekly check-ins. Those are huge because they give you a time and a space to handle business, and you can spend the rest of your time doing what you need to be doing. For sure, the quality time. So I always give folks a mandatory date night. Schedule sex if you need to. It is not above any of us. Um, also, that cheat code of learning to fight fair, learning how to handle conflicts together is key to getting to a place where you can sit down and start to have the open and honest conversation, because that creates the vulnerability. And when you do what you say you're going to do, I'm not going to pressure you on this right now, we're going to come back in 20 minutes, you start to build trust, you start to build a buy-in. And when I learned that I can trust you in the middle of my vulnerability, wow, now I really feel connected, and I really feel like, okay, we can work through this. And when we create a solution to it, oh my God,
Right.
you know what I mean? In addition to that, grace and gratitude. I don't think we praise our partners enough. We oftentimes, this is something we do, my husband and I have learned to do all the time throughout the day. Oh, thank you for washing the dishes. Oh, thank you for picking that up. Oh, thank you for, we cannot say thank you enough. We cannot recognize the other
Love
person
that.
enough. And I think sometimes we get to a space and place where we forget to say thank you. Where we forget to, and it's not that you have to be, oh, well, thank you, Master. It's not that. It's just showing that, hey, I see you working hard, you doing stuff that, yes, these are things that you should be doing, don't get me wrong,
Oh, for sure.
that you should be doing, but hey, I see you, because you could not be doing them. So thank you for doing that.
Love
As
that.
well as extending grace. I think that we forget that love is patient, love is kind. And a lot of times our love don't feel like how love is supposed to feel. And a part of that is extending the grace, treating the person how you would want them to treat you, talking to them the way
Yes.
that you would want them to talk to you about whatever the issue is at hand. And sometimes not meeting them. You see those memes all the time where my energy matches your energy. No, you are the thermostat. You set the tone and the temperature for your
Sure.
household, for your relationship. If they're coming in hot, and that's not what you need to create, you need to change the vibe, then change it. You be that change, you handle that.
Yeah,
We all know how to, we know how to do that. We know
for
how to,
sure.
be, I won't even say it's being a bigger person, it's being what we need in that
Yeah.
time of whatever's going on, you know what I
And
mean?
it works.
Yeah.
Right? And it works.
Mm-hmm.
Me and energy, like, is not gonna work. It's not,
Yeah.
it's just gonna make it worse. And for me, like, I know my personally, I've done so much work on myself. So I am like, because that was personal work. So now that when I encounter people, I can show up as my best self. And
Absolutely.
so that meeting people where that energy thing, I don't like,
Mm-mm.
because that's not gonna,
Wait,
because guess
she
what?
she
I don't know how to meet you. I'm gonna be up there.
yeah, she's in there. Sometimes when she comes out, it's hard to get her to go back in. You know what I
I don't
mean?
even want to come out.
You don't want to see her because she don't know how to go home. So you have to be careful. That's why a lot of this work is self work. Like you were
Yes.
saying, you have to work on yourself. Is learning. I have chosen to do life with this person. How can I control myself so that I can show up as my best self and inspire them to be their best selves as well? And I think so many times we get caught up in changing the other person. No, that's not how that works. That's not how that works.
No, 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 no. I love that. And so now we identified the things that, that are encompass a healthy relationship. And we also have, thought about, like, okay, if you're still trying to figure it out, these are some things that you want to focus on and that
Yeah,
you can start like today.
yeah, yeah.
But then we know that there are some situations where there are just, you shouldn't be in this in the first place. And it is what it is, right? So I just
Mhm.
want to just touch on quickly if there are, or how do you view like the red flags?
For
And this
sure.
could be pre-marriage, because even
Yeah,
in dating, because we believe when you get married to somebody, I mean, I'm not saying that the Bible talks about staying, married, they look at, but I don't believe, I believe that there are ways out. There are reasons
yeah.
to
And
leave,
certain
right?
things are not, you should not be enduring, because that's not real love. That you
Exactly.
just said I do and said something.
So so
That's
yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
Um,
So I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, marriage is forever or whatever, because that's unrealistic. But
for
I
sure.
do want to address, like, say, some red flags prior to, or when you're in a relationship and you feel like this could be my husband or this could be my wife or this person I want to be with, but there are some red flags that you're choosing. Because
Yeah,
a lot of times I think that we see the flags
yeah.
or they're there, but we choose to ignore them till and then we want to be like, you a red flag, but you dealt with it for so long. So if you want to just talk a little bit about some red flags that we can look
Sure.
out for?
Sure.
Or
I mean, obviously, any type of abuse, verbal abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, absolutely stop. No, go the opposite direction. Those are the huge, first and foremost, red flags. Anyone who is making a relationship should make you want to do and be better in a positive
mhm,
way.
mhm.
Anyone who is making you feel smaller, less than, not equal to, that is a huge red flag. Gaslighting, that is a huge, huge red flag.
Can
That's
you
when,
define that for us? Because
yeah, that's
I
gaslighting
think
is,
I think people's been using that word so loosely that they don't
yeah,
really understand
yeah,
what that
yeah.
is.
To make it as simple as possible, gaslighting can just be them not validating how you're feeling or making things your fault all the time when indeed it is actually not. And then flipping the script. Anybody that makes you feel crazy, like you're going a little crazy, that's not okay. And if you feel like I'm not sure, talk to a professional. Reach
Yeah.
out to somebody who get the coaching, get the counseling, get the therapy, because someone needs to recognize whatever is going on and help you find a solution for it when you can.
Mhm. Yeah.
Find a solution on your own. And I think that's the biggest red flag. We are the big red flags ourselves because no one teaches us how to do relationship and we just keep trying to do it all the time. Like you got a mentor, you got a pastor, you got, a business coach, but you never thought to get help in your own relationship. Well, that don't make sense. You go to the doctor, you go to the dentist because you don't know how to do those
Come
things.
on.
So like let's start checking in with some professionals. I'm not saying go and you need a weekly session every single week for the rest of your life, but check in every now and then to see, what's going on.
Yeah.
Arguing about the same things over and over, that's not necessarily an indicator that you need to walk away, but it's definitely someone else needs to come in to help you all with that communication, taming your tongue, making sure that you are able to articulate positively solution oriented conversation and communication on what you need to happen,
Yeah.
not demeaning someone else, not talking down to and making them feel less than as well. There's a lot of, I don't know what's going on in the culture right now, but we have a lot of women out there who are, I'm not dating men who are not making six figures, who don't have this and da 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 da. And that's not healthy. That's not healthy. And a lot of you gonna miss out on some good men out here that are doing their very best at the moment. And hey, maybe even you could get with them and make and help them to grow and increase together. But you coming in talking crazy like this, like you need to check you. There's some things going on
Yeah.
with you first,
For sure.
especially if you aren't meeting people on that vibe. Usually I don't hear women saying you need to bring this, and this to the table when they own a couple of tables. You know what I mean? I don't usually hear those
No,
women talking about that.
for
So,
sure.
we have to mind ourselves and what red flags are we exhibiting? What red flags are we kind of showing? And also another red flag is if you're feeling like you're walking on eggshells all the time, like you can't really be
Mhm.
yourself, or you don't feel free to kind of like share. I think those are the main red flags. I talked a lot about feelings, red flags. I'm not talking about him sneaking off on the phone. I'm not talking about,
Right. No, those,
you
yeah,
be those are different things and you should already know those. I want you to pay attention to how you feel, how you are being perceived, and how he is perceiving you. Those are things that are red flags, and those are the things that we need to, if we're asking, should I be in this relationship? Those are the things that we need to now start talking to a professional about.
for sure. And I love that. And I also want to say, listening to your gut, like
Yeah.
listening to your body. And I think that a lot of people don't sit still enough to really listen and really tap in. Like if for me, I always say, if you don't know what to do, you do nothing. And what that means is that you're sitting still and you're listening from God and you're asking him with a pure heart and you're really tuning in, because I promise you, he's going to answer you. So it's kind of like you don't go asking your friends and this friend and that friend, because what happens is everybody has a different opinion. And now you're even more confused than you were when you started, right?
And
And
they're gonna hold on to those things. Boy, remember you said JoJo was da 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 da. They're not gonna let it go. You done forgave him. He done learned his new skills. He changed his behavior. He done moved on. But you done told all your friends that he cheating on you. Girl, you can't do that.
and then they gonna they don't love him. So guess what? They have no love for him like that. So they're gonna hold on.
Make it. JoJo ain't gonna make it. Damn, JoJo is not invited to the family cookout or to brunch with friends. Okay, they don't like JoJo no more.
Right, and now you in the
And
heart.
now that affects your relationship because you have violated the vulnerability. You've led him to not be able to trust you because now you're going somewhere else to have those conversations. That's why I say talk to a professional, y'all. Please just talk to somebody. Please, please, please. Because so much, and you know this because you're a mindset coach. So much of what we need to be doing, it starts here. We have to figure out how to change our mindset so that we can set ourselves up for success in any area of our life. And when we choose not to invest in that, we're oftentimes not successful, especially because we're, as a community of Black people, are trying to go somewhere different that we haven't been before. So you need to reach out to people who have been there or are at least on the path in a farther area of the journey than you are, to reach back and say, hey, how did you get there? How did you do this? And we've got to do it. Otherwise, we're not going to be in a good place. They say in 2053, the net worth of Black folks is going to be $0.00.
That's a lie.
We were slaves the last time.
Right.
Like, this is dangerous. Like,
right.
That's why I'm very serious about relationships, making it work, figuring it out. Because the last time we were in a place where we had no value, we were being sold. We were giving up free labor, and we did not want to get back to those places. That's why this wave of entrepreneurship, this wave of we're having communication about relationships. It is very annoying how unhealthy and toxic and non-solution oriented the conversations can be, but we have to at least start having them. You know what I mean? We have to.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I mean, there's so much trash. And I'm like constant swipe, or if I was following and it just is something that's trash and it's speaking nonsense, unfollow. It's just, I don't know what this is. And I feel like it's just like this war going on between the men, and it's just too much.
It's a trick of the enemy.
Yeah.
The devil steals, kills, and destroys. We know that if we can attack the Black household, we can dismantle the Black family, which creates no community, no culture, no fruit. There's no children being made, no healthy children, no community. And that's what's under attack. And we need to really and truly understand that. And we need to get in our minds, I don't have to, it's a trick. It's a trick. I need to be making this much money before I can be in a relationship. I need to have X, Y, and Z. No, you don't. That don't have nothing to do with your relationship. That has nothing to do with a relationship. Your credit score and your annual salary and your FSLA status has nothing to do.
No, and it's just it's so shallow. It's so shallow. It's so, and if you, and like you said, like
it's irrelevant.
It's right. And from the beginning, you said that, we are the help me. We are the ones that, change the dynamic of the house. And this guy, he's another pastor, he said that we're the piece of the home, right? When we come in, we're the ones that dictate how the house moves and stuff like that. So I feel like if you're looking for all of this in a person and them to have all of this, I think you're missing, because all that the foundation is not there. And it's like, and then like you said, you're missing out on good people. Right, just because of this standard. No, you don't have to be messing with nobody. They don't have anything that's standing on the street, on the corner. But like, let's be honest. Like, you know what I'm saying? Let's be real. So
these men out, we got good Black men out here. The way some of these ladies be talking, like I saw this. Did you see that clip about this girl who was on a date with a guy and she pulled up to the Cheesecake Factory? And
I was too thrilled.
First of all, ma'am. Okay.
The fried mac and cheese balls, no.
First of all, I love me some cheesecake. You can take me to Cheesecake Factory. I'm down for the change. Like, I like Nobu. I like how. Yeah. I like some nice restaurants too. But God, hey, I'm cheddar bay biscuit me, baby. Like I love me some.
I just feel like that is just so
But the
wrong.
point, that's fine. You can feel that way. But how inappropriate is it for you to get on live with your followers and say, this dude taking me? I'm not
And
getting
wouldn't open the door, wouldn't, like, that to me is an
and you
all-time
know
level of
what?
disrespect.
The grace and the I didn't see the
Mm.
whole video, but I saw him say, "You want to talk about it? Okay, let's talk about it." And he sat down and he was saying, in my opinion, I'm supposed to keep you safe on a date. I'm supposed to do this. And I was like, kudos to you, sir.
And then see, I was talking to my girlfriends about this literally today. She was saying how if if it was her son, she would have been like, leave her right there. And I'm just like,
In the
because
parking lot. Leave her in the cheesecake.
yeah, catch an Uber, because at the end of the day, and he said something, I think I caught a part where he was like, you were late, so we missed the reservation to the other place or whatever. And then she started backpedaling, like, so it's over, you're not in, we're gonna go home. He was like, yeah, like it's pretty much it's done. And she was saying like, wow, like meaning like, wow, you cutting a date off, like what did you expect?
You have now exposed your character, and there is none. So the date is now over.
You're lucky he's taking you home. That's a real gentleman.
Because that's so disrespectful. Who told you that I wanted my face on the internet and you are playing me? You literally playing me out for all these people to see, and now I've become a viral video. Like
And the thing is, he's probably going to get a bunch of DMs too, because some girl like, take me to cheesecake.
Like, well, I'm gonna go to Cheesecake Factory with you. I'm gonna be like, heck yeah, bring me back to
the marble cheesecake.
I like the red velvet. I like the banana cream. I like the fresh strawberry.
It's
the
so good.
Hey, look. I'm down for the Cheesecake Factory. That's so messed up.
No,
That was so
it
messed
is.
up.
That's terrible. But this was so great. Like I'm really like excited to go back and even just take down some notes and share this out. I definitely have some clips that I'm definitely gonna pick out first because they were so good. But yeah, so let us know, like, how can we find you? We definitely have to do something though, because
we do. Well, so one thing that I want to do, I'll put sis I'll make Sis Stop Sulkin a discount code for anybody who's subscribing and listening to this podcast for sure. So I'll give them a discount on any services that they do. But you can always find me at coachmecourtney.com, and it's Courtney with a K, or Coach Me Courtney on Instagram. I am very soon going to be launching a podcast and YouTube. So stay tuned for all that. You'll be seeing that as well. Yes, I'm excited to begin having more of these conversations because we really need to have them. We really truly
for sure. Yeah, no, definitely. So you guys heard that. Yes, it's so important. So in the show notes, she will have all her information there. And again, she's going to use Sis Stop Sulking as a discount code. So make sure that you click the link and book a service with Coach Me Courtney. That is awesome. So yeah, I appreciate you. Thanks for coming.
Most welcome, Tasha.
I just, before I end, I just want to ask you for one mindset declaration, one thing that you that we could write down, because we say declaration at the end of every show and we write them down and we save them. So one that we can add to our list that we can repeat.
Okay. Something that I like to repeat to myself in the morning and before I go to sleep at night is I like the turn. Okay, so you gotta set the mood, right? So you got to turn the lights down low, or either light like a candle or something like that. And I like to repeat to myself, I am enough. I have enough. Tomorrow I will be enough. Tomorrow I will have enough. Because I think so many times I can get so forward thinking about like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do, and I'm not realizing and being present in the moment. So when I make those I am statements, I like to make it around being enough and totality and being a totality of my day. At the end of the day, I did enough. I did enough today.
I love it.
Did I get everything checked off? Maybe not, but I did enough. I did enough of what I need.
And I am enough. And tomorrow's, I love that for sure. So
and if I need to do more tomorrow, then it'll get done, and I'll do that because I have what it takes in me to get done. What needs to get done already.
Yeah, because I can definitely relate to that, because I have a list, and I have a to-do list and a to-don't list, right? Yeah, and there's times when I feel like, I just wanted to do two more things and just time to, and I'm lately, just recently, probably like the last couple of weeks, I'm just like giving myself grace, like, girl, you did this. Like, you know, I made a complete transition from my day job to working pretty much for myself. And I got like a couple of part-time jobs, and it's like, whoa, but I love it. And, but I find too that I still have to really, I thought I was going to have all this free time. And so I still have to really be intentional with my time and also give myself like, girl, give yourself grace, you know? And so I am enough. And I love that. So I'm going to add that to my thing for sure, because
that is the self-check-in. It's the same thing you do in your relationship. Don't put so much on it. You just checked in with yourself. You do the same thing in your relationship. That's a
for sure. I love that.
Daily check in with yourself.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Like I want to say for me, it's probably like every hour. It's almost like, okay. Some days it's like, all right, take a moment, like, and I really have to look at myself and like kind of get yourself together, because it's just a lot. You know, life is just lifing, but also God is still guiding, right?
Absolutely. So I love that.
So yeah, so thank you again so much. This was great. I truly enjoyed you. So don't forget to like and subscribe to the show. Share this with at least one friend. I want you to be well and to remember that your past does not dictate your future. Till next time.